All right, guys, so my wife and I, we bought 60 acres about 4 years ago, and we have not done anything to improve the land. So last year, I got in touch with the Missouri Department of Conservation, and they were working on a program for us. And anyways, we've started doing like invasive work on the backside of our property on 16 acres, but they have told us what we can do to get started on improvements in other places, like cutting down all these eastern red cedars. I got a chunk here, it's like 2.5 acres or so. I think maybe 2 acres of nothing but eastern red cedars. Now, basically what they said was we'll cut everything down, we'll let it lay, and then do a controlled burn probably 2 years from now or so through this area. It's funny because I've always been told that like whitetail hunters are looking for these cedar thickets. That's where the big bucks are going to go and bed down and all this kind of stuff. But basically the way they were explaining it to me, it's a dead zone under there. There's not good habitat. There's nothing there that deer really want. There's no food growing up. Like if you were to walk through here, there's very little forage underneath here. The sunlight never hits the ground. So birds will eat like seeds and berries and all kinds of stuff. And anyways, they'll come in here in these cedar thickets. They'll just sit on a limb and their droppings will hit the ground. So then the seeds are in the ground, but the sunlight never hits it. So from the research I've done and after talking to the MDC, they were saying that after you do your burn, it like gives it so much, it's just there's so much fertilizer in the ground here, untapped potential. And with that sunlight finally hitting it, after everything dries up, the sunlight hitting it, we're going to be looking at a real lush green area here. And it's not like I don't want trees to grow here. I do. And this thicket, because it butts up to like a little pasture here that's surrounded. It's like a 2-acre pasture right here, so it's a perfect spot. It's kind of hidden, but I want this to grow back up in trees. I just don't want it to be the cedar trees. The goal is to cut all the cedars down on the farm, but for right now, it's like I get more bang for my buck going through and cutting everything down right here. So that's what we're going to start doing. Now, the good thing about TSI, the cool thing about it is, everybody thinks they have to have all this equipment to do stuff on their property to improve their property. I think they got to have tractors and skid steers and all that kind of stuff. But realistically, the most important tool you can get is a chainsaw. And if you can get you a chainsaw, you can do a lot for your property. I mean, you can go buy a chainsaw $500 and then take care of almost everything you need to take care of on your property. So it's not like it's a rich man's game doing that. You know, my wife and I, we don't have a skid steer. We don't have a tractor. We don't have anything like that. So basically, I'm out here with a chainsaw and doing everything by hand to try to improve the land. And it can be done. It may not be the most efficient or anything else, but it doesn't matter to me. I'm out here on the farm messing around. So that's all that matters to me. Now, I've already gone through and cut down a little area right here. And it seems like we already got some stuff coming up, so that's pretty cool. Yeah, I cut it down probably like 3 weeks ago or so. The cedars that are on the ground are already, browning up and everything. So yeah, pretty cool. I kind of wanted to see what it would look like after a couple weeks, have like a comparison from out here into the woods. But there's a bunch of deer tracks out here though. I think they like being able to see, but at the same time, they're kind of hidden too. A guy that I was talking to, he told me that he's been doing TSI for 10 years. And he had said that the goal is to you kind of want everything to look like a bomb exploded. And that sounds a little crazy, but he's like, the more chaotic things are, the better off everything is. Like, they just feel so much more hidden. They can see what they want to see, but you can't see them through all this stuff. So I think it's pretty cool. They want more openness in the woods, but they like spots like this. So that's another problem with these red cedars, is like we don't have good turkeys in here because they cannot see anything. There's nothing to see here. It's, you can see 10 feet through the woods, and that's not good for wildlife. Another thing always to consider is which way the tree's naturally leaning. So like these two trees right here are naturally leaning that way. I have no reason to not let them fall that way. So that's the way I'm gonna make them fall. It's whatever's easiest. So in the back behind me here, I cut down a lot of cedars already. Like I cut this little section out here. This is what I had cut down about 3 weeks ago. And then you can already see some hardwood back there, like oak. You see the big oak trees. So I've already got a lot of this taken down. I got a few more here in the middle. And I took out a few right here. Some of the trees had fallen on each other. It's just so thick in there. The only way you can prevent it is by pulling some out of the way, because they're all like leaning into each other real bad. So I had a few of them fall on each other, but I think what I'll do is I probably just hook them onto the truck, a log chain, and just drag them out a little bit to where they're not caught up on a tree, and then I'll cut it down. So I'm gonna wait on that one. Another thing you can do, if you don't want to run a chainsaw or you don't feel good about cutting trees down, you can do the hack and squirt. So you just take a hatchet, hit it into a tree a couple times, and squirt some chemical in there. Like the water from a tree is on the very outside of it. So that's how the water gets up to the leaves and stuff. But anyways, if you squirt that chemical in there, it'll kill that tree. I've already found a few ticks on me. I've been using that permethrin, but I don't know. I mean, I know it works. It works really good, because if I wasn't using it, I'd be covered. I mean, I found some dead on me, but I also found a few crawling. But if you do a controlled burn, like studies show that it kills 98% of the ticks. So that's a huge amount. If we had to only worry about 2% of the ticks that we're worrying about now, we'd be doing really well. Like I was saying, you really want this to look like a bomb exploded. You can tell here that there was like a defined line where those red cedars met up with this hardwood here, all these oak trees. Basically, I'm just going to leave all the oak trees where they are. I'm probably going to have to thin some out. They're pretty close together on a few of them. But the first step is just getting rid of all of these eastern red cedars. Yeah, I'd like to make a couple paths through. That way, maybe the deer will want to funnel down through there if they're trying to get to that little pasture.